Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building another family home, and this time I am building one that's like a updated, modern sort of suburban home. It's very much a traditional shape for a suburban home, I think. I mean, I tried to make it look fairly interesting. Like the back of the house I think is kind of interesting, the way I did the windows and stuff, and also the garage is on the side of the house, which I never do, but I thought it would be a good idea for this build, and I'm definitely really pleased with the way it turned out. But yeah, I definitely wanted to give it more of like a modern feel, so I updated the windows. Originally I had these more traditional style windows, and I felt like that wasn't going to give it like the look that I wanted to, so I ended up swapping it out for some more rounder windows, and I also gave it a more updated interior style, and I used a lot of stuff from Dream Home Decorator. I feel like I've been going a bit overboard with Dream Home Decorator because in almost every video I feel like I mentioned that I use that pack, so I'm definitely going to be making more of an effort to use other packs and do other styles. But for now, this one is very heavy on Dream Home Decorator. So yeah, if you guys don't have that pack already, definitely maybe check it out because I seem to really like it a lot. But here you can see I'm swapping out the windows for these ones. The top ones I think came from Get to Work, if I remember correctly. And then the larger rounded windows actually are part of Base Game. They came in an update fairly recently. I'm not exactly sure when that was, but it was pretty recently in case you guys missed it or haven't seen them in the catalog. Maybe you haven't updated your game. If you haven't, definitely do so. It may have actually came in one of the Sims delivery updates where you don't have to update your game. That might be possible too. I'm not sure. I can't keep track anymore. But these windows originally were actually shown on the promotional art for the industrial loft kit, and then the window did not come with the pack, and a lot of people, including myself, were very surprised about this because it was like, you know, front and center of the promotional material for the pack, and so you would assume that that would be the window that came in the pack. The one that came with it is very similar, but it's not exactly the same, and so yeah, the Sims team decided to just release it as part of Base Game. But yeah, it's very strange, the whole situation around that. I don't quite understand why that would happen necessarily. But anyways, I'm really happy that we have both of the windows nonetheless because I like both of them equally. And I feel like I haven't used this window enough. I've used it maybe like once or twice since we got it available in Base Game. And recently I've been watching a simmer by the name of Jessica Pie, and she uses this window fairly often. And I always think it's like so beautiful when she does. She does such a good job. Like her builds are just, they're beautiful, and she has a really good variety. So if you guys have not heard of her channel before, I can highly recommend it. Maybe you guys are looking for another speed builder to watch. She's just somebody I've been kind of binge watching recently, so definitely check her out. I'll have a link to her channel in the description box if you guys have not heard of her before, so definitely check that out. But yeah, anyways, as you guys can see, the shape of the house is starting to come together. I really had no idea what to do with the back of the house. Like I said, I did something kind of interesting with like the window placement. I don't know. Maybe it's not that interesting, but I felt like at first it looked a little bit awkward and I wasn't sure about it. But then I ended up going with it, and I think it's pretty cute. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed with like the shape and like the way it all came together, even though I felt like at first it looked a little bit awkward. So you guys will have to let me know if you guys agree. But yeah, here I'm just trying to figure out how I wanted it to look. I originally was going to mirror that front part that popped out, but then I decided that I didn't quite like the way that looked. So I added a porch back here. There's also a swimming pool, and there's a driveway area where I put a couple of cards from the live edit objects. And then there's also a play area for the kids. In the house, there ends up being room for 2 parents, a teen, and then 2 children. So a pretty good sized family. It's not as big as I imagined it to be. I thought that I would be able to fit a larger family in this home, but the second floor ended up not having like as much space as I thought. But there is a gym area attached to the garage, so you could probably turn that into a bedroom if you really wanted to, or maybe switch up the floor plan a little bit to turn that into a bedroom. I mean, of course the garage would be easy to turn into a bedroom if you needed the extra space, and you could just have a driveway that's not like actually connected to like garage doors or anything. That would be a really fun teen room, I think, and you could leave the garage doors. But yeah, I don't know, I'm really pleased with the way this house came together. I'm actually building over here in this part of Newcrest that I never build in. Usually I build in, I don't know that like the neighborhood names in Newcrest, but the right side of the map where there's like the whole row of lots, typically I build there or the starter neighborhood. This is like the I don't know what you would call this area. I'm gonna say it's the town center area. There's like community parks over here. I mean, I guess there's community parks in other parts of this world too. I have no idea. But there's the really large lot next to this one that's like a 40 by 50, something like that. But I never build over here. The lighting is a bit weird. I felt like it was kind of dark. It was very difficult to make a thumbnail, so I might actually move the house for the thumbnail because I could not get the sun to like shine on the front of the house at all when I was taking the screenshots. So it's fine for building in, and I think fine for playing, but for making a thumbnail, it's not the best. But yeah, here you can see I created the driveway. Originally, I had both of the cars parked in front of the garage doors, which I like better, but I ended up moving one of the cars because I wanted to place a basketball hoop above the garage doors, so I thought that would be kind of fun. And it's not an item that I remember to place very often, and I thought it would just give, your Sims another activity and, thing to do here on the lot. But right now I'm just placing some like trees, and I quickly realized that I should probably move on to the interior. Sometimes I just get carried away. I build a house and then I get kind of stuck on starting the landscaping because I just get it in my head that that's what I want to do, and I get sidetracked, and then I realize I should probably figure out the interior. So that's what I did here. Yeah, the interior actually came together pretty easily. I like the floor plan a lot. It was kind of, I guess it wasn't as easy as I'm saying it is, because it was a little bit tricky because I wasn't sure how I was going to lay out like the living room, where it was going to be located, where the dining room was going to be located, and then what types of rooms I was going to include. But what I end up having is a kitchen, a dining room, there's a living room, there's a bathroom downstairs, as well as a garage area. I think there's actually 2 bathrooms downstairs if I remember correctly, but anyways, there's also the garage like I mentioned, and then attached to the garage there's a gym. And then upstairs is all of the bedrooms, and then I think only 1 bathroom. I didn't quite have the space to fit 2 bathrooms, but there's actually a pretty open landing area at the top of the staircase where I put another computer. And it's kind of funny because there were several days in between me decorating the first level and then the second level, and I forgot that I put an office in the first floor. And so I thought that I needed a spot for a computer, and I was like, oh, the top of the staircase would be perfect for this. So if you really wanted like an ensuite bathroom, you could squeeze one in that space, because maybe 2 computer desks is kind of repetitive. But I figured that one would be more of like the family computer that the kids could use, and then the parents would probably use the one in the office for like work and stuff like that. So I think it actually kind of makes sense and could definitely work, but definitely not necessary. But anyways, yeah, that was it for the floor plan. And then here I'm moving on to the landscaping again. I really enjoyed the landscaping on this build. As I always do, I'm using live edit objects plans just because I think the colors and textures are so much better than the regular build and buy catalog plants. Some of them look so like plasticky and just not very cute in my opinion. So yeah, here I'm also using some terrain paint to add some like depth next to where like the pathways lead to the grass. I wanted to add some sort of like kind of shadowy effect, sort of like I don't know, I feel like it just makes it feel like it's supposed to be there. Let me know if you guys agree. But yeah, I really enjoyed the landscaping because I used a lot of greenery and some flowers, but it's not too many flowers. I feel like it's just nice and pretty and simple. And then here I'm adding some fence to line like the lot. Basically it's a live edit objects fence, and I'm just placing the individual pieces down just to create a fence on the other side of the hedges, which I really liked. I felt like that was really pretty. And then the backyard is also fenced in, but I'm using this like plain base game simple fence. And then yeah, back here there is a swimming pool. I also create a fire pit area, which I thought was pretty interesting because it's not something that I do very often. And then yeah, there's a couple of lounge chairs back here. I also have an outdoor dining table, and then a play area for the kids, which I completely like sand in, so your Sims can actually build sand castles and like playing in the sand and stuff like that, which I thought was a pretty fun idea. But then I'm just adding the basketball hoop and moving this car, so the car's not technically like parked where it probably would be parked. I don't know, I just felt like it looked a little bit weird right there, but I really wanted your Sims to have room to use the basketball hoop, even though they would probably be able to anyways because those cars are live edit objects, so they're not technically there. I don't think your Sims would recognize them as actual objects, so they'd probably just walk through them anyways. Let me know if they do. I don't know if your Sims actually walk through the cars or not. I'm not sure, but anyways, over here is that fire pit area like I was talking about. I really enjoyed creating that. I thought it was so cool, and I actually used the platform tool to have it lowered it down into the ground just slightly, which I thought looked pretty nice. And it definitely gives your Sims like another activity to do here in the backyard. There's actually quite a few activities, considering there's the swimming pool, the lounge chairs, the swing set, and then there's also the basketball hoop and the diving board. Like, there's a lot of different things back here, so I'm actually really pleased with the way that all came together. And then here I really wanted there to be like a large tree in the backyard, so I added this one. And then I just continue with the same sort of landscaping that I did on the front yard, copying over a lot of the plants and keeping it fairly simple, a lot of greenery like I did, and just a few flowers. I really love those rose bushes that came from Cottage Living. They're so pretty and I love the colors of them, but this like soft like rose pink color is so cute. Here I'm adding a couple of these debug planter pots, which I thought would be super cute. And yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much it for the backyard. And also I mentioned those windows. So what I ended up doing, I felt like the windows looked a little bit awkward there on the right side of the build, just under those dormer windows, but I framed them in with some different colored wallpaper and then some pillars. And I think that actually worked really nicely. I think the way I had them originally was why I felt like they looked so awkward. But looking back now and watching the video, they definitely do not look awkward once I like framed them in. Let me know if you guys agree. But yeah, over here, I'm just adding some sand to the swing set area and then adding some terrain paint, some dirt and stuff, just to kind of make it look more natural and stuff. I kind of struggled with this a little bit. I actually go back to it at the end of the video and make a few more adjustments to where the dirt meets the sand, just because it looked a little bit awkward in my opinion. But yeah, sometimes with this Reshade that I use, I forget to use the dirt terrain paint because there's so much of a shadow because of the Reshade that I kind of forget that it's not there. And so I was definitely trying to make an effort to make sure I added it. But anyways, here I'm just adding some lights to the exterior of the builds, and then this is basically it for the exterior. And then here I'm moving on to the interior. So at this point, I still had like a few adjustments to make to the floor plan because the kitchen area, I really wasn't sure if I was going to like it. And so I ended up actually sectioning off part of it to make the office, which I think was the best idea because I think the floor plans just ends up making so much more sense. And I really like the way it turned out. So hopefully you guys are going to like it too. But yeah, here is where I was originally going to have the kitchen. So what I ended up doing is actually just moving it backwards a little bit and then having the office in the front of the house, which yeah, just worked so perfectly in my opinion. I was really proud of myself for the way that turned out. And then here I was adding a door inside the garage that'll lead into the home gym. In the home gym, I put a punching bag, a treadmill, and then a yoga mat and like a stereo and stuff. So it's just like a nice simple home gym. I thought I would add it because I never add gym equipment in homes. If I do, it's like a punching bag in the garage and then that's like about it. Or maybe a yoga mat. I do add those every once in a while, but yeah, anyways, over here is going to be where the home office ends up being. Right now I'm playing around with the idea of having like an extra living space, more like a casual sitting room where you can read with some like bookcases and maybe a fish tank. And I like the idea of it, but I wasn't executing it very well and I didn't think it looked very cute. And I also didn't think it really made sense with the floor plan. It didn't seem very realistic to me. So what I ended up doing is just actually making that part of the room smaller and then having the kitchen be on the other side and then yeah, just creating like the home office in that space. And I just think it worked so well. Like I was really pleased with the way it turned out. And I think it makes so much sense with the rest of the rooms and stuff too. So let me know if you guys agree. I mean, maybe it's a little bit weird to be able to walk right through the kitchen into an office, but I don't think so. So yeah, here I'm just switching up the door though. I realized that the doors that I was trying to use as the front door and the door to the office were not the same white as like the windows and the other doors that I was using. The doors that I'm using in the rest of the build are very white, as well as the windows, like a very true white. And those doors have like a hint of blue or gray to them. They're not very like bright white, and that's what I was going for because it felt more clean and updated and like they've been freshly painted or freshly made. And that's how I wanted it to feel and not so mismatchy or older at all. And I felt like those ones have a bit of an older feel to them. So yeah, I swapped them out for some other doors. And then here I'm just placing some like wallpaper and flooring and stuff. The flooring that I'm using is all base game, and then the wallpapers are base game and then Parenthood. I think I pretty much use the same wallpaper throughout the entire build. Even in the kids' rooms, I think I just changed like the colors or something like that. But yeah, here I'm just sort of getting the kitchen situated, making sure that this is exactly where I want the kitchen to be, but I felt like everything just placed in here so nicely. I ended up even using this wall decoration that came from, I think it was Jungle Adventure. This one right here, I never used that item, but I felt like it just fit in that spot perfectly. But I actually end up jumping around. I go back into like the dining room and move around to like the living room and then back to the kitchen. I was kind of all over the place with this build. Usually I don't decorate that way necessarily, but this one I was trying to get an idea of how everything was going to be laid out as a whole before I like necessarily finished one area, which I think was a pretty good idea, because if I would have maybe started decorating one area, then maybe I wouldn't have liked the way it affected another area. I think that's a possibility, but anyways, yeah, here I'm back to the dining room. In here, it's pretty simply decorated. There's not like a whole lot of clutter, but I really like the way it looks. I like the combination of these chairs from Dream Home Decorator in combination with the table. And then see here, now I'm in the living room. It was completely all over the place. I really wanted to add a fireplace, but the way I was laying out the furniture and everything, I did not have a great spot to put it. So unfortunately, I didn't end up adding one, but maybe if you felt like rearranging the furniture here in the living room, you could probably fit one in. But I really just liked the way the couches were laid out. And then I end up putting like a couple of poofs over here, which I think are so cute. All of the furniture in here, like the couches and the poofs, all came from Dream Home Decorator. And then the table came from Snowy Escape. And then the lamp, I think, is Eco Lifestyle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I also added a fish tank in there, but yeah, anyways, now we're here back in the dining room. I'm like so all over the place, but yeah, I think it totally worked. I really like this dining room. Like I said, I think the colors in here are so pretty. I mean, it's pretty much the same color scheme as like the rest of the build, but in here in particular, I felt like the items just worked really nicely together, and it just felt very simply decorated, but kind of fancy in a way. Like I felt like it was kind of luxurious. But yeah, over here is going to be the entryway to the build. So there's a staircase. Here at the bottom of the staircase, I place a fairly traditional style dresser. But I thought it looked pretty over here with some artwork and some books and some plants and other clutter items that I thought looked nice. And then over here next to the front door, I do place some entryway items like the coat rack, the umbrella rack, and then a mirror. And then I'm using the tool mod to adjust the height level of the mirror, because mirrors place sometimes way higher than you expect them to, and it seems like the Sims wouldn't even be able to look at their faces in the mirrors. And unfortunately, you can't move them like up and down on the wall, only side to side, which is very strange. I feel like we used to be able to move them all over like you can other wall art, and then at some point they changed it in like an update or something. Let me know if I'm remembering that incorrectly, but I think that's accurate. But anyways, thankfully the tool mod exists. I mean, you could also like remove the wall behind it and move objects, but that's kind of a pain. The tool mod is way simpler. But anyways, over here I just used the tool mod to rotate some of those cutting boards that came from Cool Kitchen. I thought that would look pretty nice, so they actually look like they're leaning on the counters rather than just resting against the wall or stuck to the wall. That's how they're placed originally. Here I'm placing a couple of these espresso cups that came from Get Together. Thankfully, the coffee mugs and these cups actually do not spoil, so you could leave them out on your counter surfaces as long as you would like to. So they're great for decoration, and yeah, your Sims never have to clean them up. And then over here, I'm just adding a few more decorations, just like kitchen clutter and stuff, trying to make it feel fully decorated and lived in. But as I typically do in more modern interiors, I try not to add too much clutter, but I still want the homes to feel like your Sims actually live here and they're not necessarily like staged show homes or anything. I don't really like decorating that way. I've done it a few different times before in some maybe even more modern style homes. I've done that sort of style, but they never feel like complete to me. But anyways, over here is the office that I've gone on and on about. In here, it's pretty simply decorated too. There's a couple of chairs over here in the corner. There's some bookcases. I used these base game bookcases. They're the same ones that I used in the living room. I felt like they matched like the wood tone to the wallpaper really nicely. And yeah, there's a desk in here, the same lamp that I used in the living room. And then just a few decorations like this artwork, and then a few things on the table. But again, it's not too cluttery or too overly decorated, I don't think, but it still feels complete in my opinion. So yeah, it's a really nice simple office. I really am happy with the way it turned out. But yeah, here I decided I wanted to add this fruitcake on the counter because I found it in the catalog and I thought that would be cute because I really like that it's been like eaten into a little bit. It really feels like, I don't know, you can imagine the Sims have just been kind of picking at it. Maybe one of the parents have like just finished baking it, or maybe they have a maid that comes over and they baked it, and maybe one of the kids kind of couldn't help themselves and like got a little bit of it, and they weren't so good at like sneaking a piece off of like the bottom, and maybe they could hide it, so they kind of just ate into the corner, and maybe they'll get in trouble for it. I don't know. But anyways, over here is one of the downstairs bathrooms. There are two of them. This one is a larger one with a shower and tub combo. I had the space for it, so I figured I might as well add it. The other one ends up being on the other side of the living area and the dining room. The door actually goes through the dining room into that room. And yeah, I just had the space for it and it worked out in that spot. So two bathrooms downstairs works out pretty nicely. Over here is the other bathroom, like I was saying. I think I actually might end up getting another shower in here, but it's not like the shower tub combo. It's just one of these stand-up showers. Yeah, it fit in here pretty nicely. This room is also very simply decorated, just a sink. I ended up actually using a standalone sink instead of doing some counter spaces with one of the sinks actually placed into the counter. I used this one that came from Dream Home Decorator because of course it matches the other items that I've been using from Dream Home Decorator, so it worked out pretty nicely. And yeah, I really wanted to put a table over here below the window with some like bathroom clutter. And this one that came from Jungle Adventure actually came in a really nice wood tone that matched a lot of the furniture that I was using. And it also has really nice sort of bathroom looking clutter on the shelf surfaces. There's like some little bottles and like some towels and stuff. So it works really nicely in bathrooms in my opinion. And then yeah, here I'm just picking out a rug. I think I end up using one from, this one from Laundry Day. It's a bit more rustic than the rest of the interior, but I really liked it and it was like the perfect size. Of course, I could have used any rug I wanted to and used the tool mod to resize it to make it fit. But yeah, anyways, over here is going to be the garage space. So in the garage, I wanted there to be like garage related items. I also placed a washer and dryer in here just to add a bit more like functionality to a garage. Oh yeah, I also placed a litter box in here and I used the one that actually is like self-cleaning, which I thought would be kind of cool and pretty fancy sort of litter box. I mean, I've never had one that self-cleans. I have looked at them before. I thought about buying one at one point, but then I never did. Have you guys ever used those? Do they even work? I mean, you have to empty them out eventually, but they kind of like sift through the sand, I think. Or the litter, I guess it's not sand, but I don't know how they work exactly. But anyways, this family has one, and then I also added a cat food bowl in the kitchen. You could also use it as a dog food bowl, but anyways, here in the garage, I add some tires just because I really did not know what to add to make it feel like a garage, and I felt like maybe some extra tires would be kind of garagey. And then mostly it's just empty space with some more laundry related items. But yeah, over here is going to be the home gym. So in the home gym, like I said, there's a punching bag, a treadmill, a yoga mat. I put some mirrors in here so the Sims could actually, look at their form and check out themselves in the mirror while they're exercising. I also put one of these wall mounted TVs. I think this one came from Get to Work if I remember correctly, but I thought it was like the perfect TV to have above a treadmill so the Sims could actually entertain themselves while they're doing like a long run or something on it. And then I also placed a radio in here and then a nice little like candle light on the floor just because I thought it was pretty. And then here I'm just looking for some other wall decorations, trying to make it feel fully decorated. I ended up actually using this wall decoration that has like, I guess, supplements or protein powder and stuff. It came from Spa Day, so I thought that looked pretty nice in here. And then I just use a wall hanging from Spa Day, and then this is basically it for the whole home gym. I do add a couple of brick accent walls just to sort of break it up a little bit because it felt kind of plain and like it needed more decoration, and I didn't think more artwork was the answer. So yeah, I felt like that worked out pretty nicely. And so here is that landing area that I was talking about where I end up adding another computer desk. I think I might actually decorate the parents' room before I decorate that. But here I'm just placing the parents' bed, trying to figure out which one I want to use, and also trying to figure out what I wanted to do in the other rooms. The kids' room is kind of small. I considered only having one kid in the room, but like I said, I really wanted this build to be for a larger family. Maybe it would have been a better idea to have that be the teens room and then put 2 kids in this larger room. That might have been the smarter way to go, but that's not what I thought about in the moment, obviously. So the teenager does have the larger room. And then, yeah, this is the parents' master bedroom. It's not a master suite, also like I mentioned, but the extra computer space could easily be renovated into another bathroom if you felt like it was necessary. But I mean, there's 2 downstairs and then 1 upstairs, so 3 is probably pretty good. And then over here, I do add a TV on this nice side table. I've been adding TVs quite regularly in bedrooms recently, and I'm actually really enjoying it because for the longest time, I never added them. And I don't really know why, because I always like having a TV in the bedroom, but apparently I don't think my Sims do. But it's definitely a nice way to add like an extra activity in the bedroom and fill in some more like space when you may not necessarily want to add any more like clutter items. But yeah, over here is where their dresser ends up being. I actually end up using a dresser that came from kids' room stuff, and I end up using the same dresser in the teens' room, so hopefully it's not too repetitive, but I just really liked how they were tall, and I felt like I needed something tall. And so that's what I ended up doing. You may even have noticed that there for a second I did place a computer desk in the room, thinking that I should place one in there, and I'm so happy that I didn't, because then that would have felt way too repetitive. I mean, if I did, I probably wouldn't have added one here, but still, I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, I really liked what I did in here because I added some of these Dream Home Decorator modular shelves next to the dresser, and I thought it looked so cool in here. It's just some like extra storage, and I put decorations up on it, of course. And then here, I didn't realize at the moment that plant like pot is actually clipping through the dresser, so I'll make sure that that's fixed before uploading it to the gallery, because well, I want it fixed and I don't want you guys to have to fix it if you download it. But of course, if I forget for whatever reason, thankfully it's not too hard of a thing to fix. At least it shouldn't be, hopefully not. But anyways, here I'm just picking out some extra wallpaper, and then I do decorate this bathroom. The bathroom up here is a pretty good size, and it's kind of an interesting shape. So I actually put the counters over here with the sink, and I had lots of counter space to add bathroom clutter, which is something I don't typically have in bathrooms, because a lot of the time my bathrooms are quite small, and if I do have counter space, it's like 1 counter space to add clutter on, and so this one thankfully had a lot of counter space. So there's a lot of clutter in here, which I really like, because I feel like even though the rest of the house is supposed to be more simply decorated and less cluttery, a bathroom makes perfect sense to me, especially this bathroom where all of the Sims would be sharing it. They would probably leave stuff out more often, have a lot more stuff out, and not be so worried about other people like seeing it. Like, I feel like the parents in this build probably care about people's opinion like quite a lot, and that's why they like to keep the rest of their house very pristine and like clean and simply decorated. But that bathroom, nobody ever sees it besides the Sims that live here, so they don't care. So that was kind of my idea behind it. But anyways, over here is going to be the teens room. I really had fun with the color scheme in this teens room, because this bed that came from Dream Home Decorator has this really cool like sort of like orangey red color, which I really like. I'm not sure the actual name for this color, but I thought it was so pretty with that more like mint green color in it too. I thought that, yeah, it was just really fun. So it kind of spurred on the whole color scheme for the room. And then there for a second, I did place these dressers that came from kids' room stuff, like I mentioned. I end up keeping them. There for a moment, I did get rid of them, but I didn't see anything else that I thought would work better in their place or had the right wood tones to match the rest of the items in this room. So yeah, for this room though, I tried to just make like a general teens room. I think it's fairly cute, but I wasn't going for like a specific personality. So I think it'd be a really nice room to adapt to any sort of like personality, and you could add specific like posters or maybe skill building items. I mean, there is a guitar in here, so I guess the Sim maybe likes music, but they don't necessarily have to play it. They could have just got it as like a gift and then they never touch it. That's a possibility, but I think it's a nice room to leave a bit open to customize it for whatever Sim you guys see living in here. Of course, it doesn't have to be a teens room too. It could definitely be like a kid's room or another adult's room, something like that. But I mean, of course, that doesn't matter because those are easy things to change. But anyways, over here is going to be the kids' room. So like I mentioned, I did consider only having 1 kid in this room, but I really wanted there to be 2. So I put another bed in here, and then I tried to just add a variety of kids-related objects. I think the kid on this side of the room is really into arts and crafts, so I placed a journal that has like paint splatters and stuff on the cover, and then I place some artwork and stuff on the wall, trying to show that that's things that they've been working on. And then I also put a drawing table in here. I use the one that came from Snowy Escape just because it matched the style of the build a lot better. I kind of struggled with what I wanted to place on this wall, but this decoration that came from Discovery University was perfect because it has like the color wheel and like different sort of like art related items on it, so I thought that looked pretty cute. And then the kid on the other side of the room is definitely more into like nature. They're in the Scouts, and I tried to find posters and decorations that sort of related to that personality, but yeah, I don't know. I really like the way the room turned out. So hopefully you guys do like it too. And hopefully you guys have liked this build. Hopefully you guys like the way the other rooms and like the more modern take on a suburban home. And hopefully you guys are looking forward to another modern build, because I have one that's coming up that's like a very ultra modern house, and I'm very excited about it because I think it turned out to be so pretty. But anyways, here I'm just adding the final few decorations to the build, and then I do go on the exterior and add a few things on the porches just to sort of complete the build and add a few more activities. But yeah, this is basically it for the whole build. I hope you guys have enjoyed, like I said, and hopefully you guys do enjoy the screenshots. So thank you so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm if I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?